Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is Monday, October 31st. It's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you are at the Duchenne Method weekly live class where we focus on acknowledging, engaging, and supporting one another in a conversation, in a discussion that we are going to have around the topic today of how to focus attention. I'm so grateful you're here. You can say a little hello, excuse me, in the comment if you want. Make sure to write your name that I know that you are here with us. And today we're going into a pretty deep dive around how to focus attention because it is quite the thing nowadays with all of our many distractions where we kind of take one step forward and then three steps back with our focus and attention. There's too much going on. There's too much technology going on in the sense that we are being distracted. And you know what? Your most important, your biggest superpower is to be able to focus, is to be able to decide on what. Hey, Melinda, thank you for being here. Good morning. I just got a note that you're on live. Good morning and welcome. So, focusing on not so much how to focus, although I'll get over that. It's more around the potential of making decisions. Are you someone who can make decisions, grounded, solid, aligned decisions, or do you vacillate? Thank you, Melinda. That's super sweet. You are a woman of joy as well. I'm delighted that you're here. So, what's your decision making skills? What are your decision making skills like? And I'm going to weave that into our conversation around how to focus attention today. And maybe some things that I'll share with you that might surprise you. So, if you're here, hey, hello, Karine, welcome. Good morning. Karine is here, Melinda's here. Who else is here? Let me know in the comments. Say hi. This is an interactive exchange. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to create. So I really want for you to say good morning because I want your feedback about what I'm sharing. This is something that I've been teaching and learning throughout my practice as a coach for over 30 years already, right? Different types of coaching environments I've been in. Good morning. I love this too. Thank you for being here. Make sure you write your name so I know that you are here. Michelle Wood, good morning, honey. Thank you for being here. Awesome. I'm delighted to have you on the call or on our live. And I'm going to encourage you to interact with me. So when I ask you a question, go ahead and let me know because this is what this is about. Right now, I'm doing it this way where I'm really speaking and then you're interacting with me by chatting. And later on, I'm going to change that format surely sooner than later so that we can actually be around an actual circle of creation, of connection, so that we might interact with one another because my goal is to be able to offer a place where we can communicate mindfully and practice those skills in real time. Okay. So here we go. I sent you last Monday. If you saw, not last Monday, what's today? Today's Monday. Last Thursday, my newsletter. You would have gotten a newsletter. If you're not on my newsletter, please sign up. Go to my website, artofalignmentacademy.com. Sign up for my newsletter because I'm sending more and more information, important tips. I'm offering more and more value in the form of free information so that you might tap into these topics that are really important to optimize your mind-body alignment, right? That's my spiel. That's my bottom line. I'm interested in mind-body alignment. How does the mind communicate with the body, communicate with the mind? How does that loop happen? And when you start to get more proficient around these topics that we discussed together, it changes your physiology. It changes your anatomy. It changes how you show up in life. And you know what? If you're someone who's been doing this for a long time, if you've been trying over and over and over again over the years, if you're someone who's saying like, oh my God, I've been working on this all of my life, Anne Marie, why is it so hard? Hey, it's not so hard. What it is that we are human and we need to begin again every single day, which is why optimism, positivity, the philosophy of positivity, the philosophy of possibility is so important. If you're not plugged into that, if you're not plugged into positivity and optimism, it's going to be hard as heck. I'm just going to put it out there. It's going to be hard as heck. So, we want to shift our focus first and foremost into becoming more positive and optimistic about our lives. Focus every single morning on what is working. If you're waking up in the morning focusing on what's not working, it's not going to work. It's just not. We really have to focus our attention, our energy on. Hey, good morning, Kat. Catherine is here. Thank you for being here, Catherine. I'm delighted that you're here. We have people from Montreal. We have people from New York. We have people from somewhere else. So thank you for being on this live stream with me. Okay, so how to focus attention. Number one, the one thing I want to share with you immediately. We're hitting. How do you say it? We're hitting the road, the pavement, running this morning because I need to invite you into this energy of optimism. You must focus on positivity. It is not a wild, cute idea. No, being optimistic and focusing on what's positive is hard work because it's much easier to go towards the negative. We all are wired into this negativity bias. We all know it. Or most of us know it. There's a connection to the negativity bias. What's not working? Why am I not further along? Why am I not in the perfect relationship? Why don't I have more money? Why am I not a superstar? Why am I not? Why am I not? Why am I not? It doesn't work. Bon matin. Who is saying bon matin? Give me your name. I can't see your name right now. Bon matin from. I'm looking at all of my technology here to make sure I don't miss anyone if you're on the call with me. Okay, so we need to get wired into positivity and optimism. Number one, how to focus your attention, because if you are not feeling optimistic right now in the world, there's a lot to feel negative about. There's a lot of problems. People are dying, wars are going on. There's a fear monger that is really looming over us about, oh, we're going to run out of stuff. It's going to be hard, cold, dark winter. I'm not suggesting that we don't look at reality in the eye. However, if you look at reality in the eye and you tend to be someone who is less optimistic, who leans towards a negativity, it's going to be super hard. This is why I'm encouraging you, first and foremost, focus on what is working. Now, hey, Louisville in the house. Welcome. Good morning. I'm excited that you're here. So, hey, Elise, good morning. Thank you for being here. Wonderful. Bon matin, Christiane. Wonderful. Welcome. Okay, so in the chat right now, all of you who are here with me, I want you to write what is working in your life right now. We're going to start with an exercise of optimism and positivity. What is working in your life right now? Write it in the chat. It could be something super simple. It might be that you woke up this morning and you don't have pain in your body. It might be simply that you woke up this morning. Write in the comments what is working in your life right now. Focus on positivity and optimism. That's the number one thing, the number one tool. If you want to focus your attention more effectively in your life, you must, without fail, focus on what's working. Because it's so easy to focus on what's not working. That's the easy way out. And the more you focus on what's not working, of course, you get pulled down the rabbit hole. Focus on positivity and optimism. I want to see in the comments, please share with me what's working. Even if you're feeling funky this morning, wipe it aside. What is working in your life this morning? Please write it down in the chat. Focused attention is a powerful ingredient in the recipe for personal effectiveness. I'm going to repeat that. Focused attention is a powerful ingredient in the recipe for personal effectiveness. And why is that important? Why is personal effectiveness important? Because when you are personally effective in your life, at anything that you do, it could be at keeping a clean house. It could be being very good at your job. It could be being able to recover from a recent surgery, right? Personal effectiveness. What are you effective at personally in your life? What is it that you can give yourself a tap on the back for doing super well? Some of you on this call this morning are excellent knitters. You knit beautiful things. Some of you on the call this morning are excellent practitioners. Elise is a biodynamic craniosacral practitioner. My sister-in-law is a genius knitter. Personal effectiveness, does something super well personally. What does that do? It builds your confidence because you know that you're really good at something. And when we're really good at something and we keep practicing that, the tendency is that we feel happier. We feel connected to this art form, to this work that we are doing. And when you are giving a biodynamic craniosacral therapy, if you are in a Hello Work session with me right now, you are online with me. If you are knitting your sweater, are you not focusing on one thing? Because what happens if you don't focus at that moment? Now, it's not that you can't focus on two things, right? Like you're knitting your sweater and you have hot water boiling for a cup of tea. Well, you're aware that these two things are happening. But one of them is going to require your much more deliberate attention. Otherwise, you're going to make a mistake. So this morning, Elise says, I believe I can. My body is working and my mind is working. I love my practice and my purpose. Thank you, Elise. Fabulous. This is a great model of someone who focuses on optimism, right? Elise had a pretty trying situation occurring for her recently. And here she is this morning again, here communicating, engaging. And that's the other piece around being able to stay optimistic and focused, is to participate. Participation is a function of health. To be able to bring ourselves to the fore and participate in a way that is acknowledging others, ourselves and others, engaging ourselves and with others, and most of all, to support ourselves and others. On the mend and fully engaged. Awesome, Elise. I'm delighted to read that. So, how to focus attention. There are several others of you on this call. I would love to see comment of what is working in your life. Don't be shy. This is why I'm doing these, for us to communicate, to engage. And I want to make it exciting for you, right? If it's going to be boring, you're not going to be joining the live stream. So please engage and write. Okay. Somebody wrote, I'm sorry, I can't see your name, but you said viewing feedback from our annual 2-day training event, both positive and constructive criticism. I wonder if this is this you? I'm Michelle. I wonder if you had a 2-day event. Let me know who you are. Viewing feedback from our annual 2-day training event, both positive and constructive criticism. Awesome. Right? How are you going to improve your training, your life, your knitting, your practice, your work, you as a mother, you as a partner? How are you going to improve yourself if you do not focus on what's working? Angie, hey, Angie, welcome. Welcome to the stream this morning. Wonderful to have you here. Yeah, Angie is a professional in the art of, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Angie, correct me, but auditing and public account or accounting and auditing. I think I said that right. You can correct me, Angie, please. Yeah, wonderful. So viewing feedback is one way to receive really powerful insight into what's working and into what's not working. And that will give you a lot of insight into if you are actually focusing your attention effectively on what you're doing, coaching, and teaching. Internal auditing. Thank you, Angie. Internal auditing. That's a great comment. I appreciate that. Anyone else on the call who might want to share what is working for you this morning? Participation is a function of health. I'm going to wait to see more comments showing up. Okay, so I want to jump right into it and focus. And part of this stuff that I'm sharing with you, I read from James Clear. He has a newsletter every week. Interesting guy. He wrote the book Atomic Habits. I haven't read it yet, but it's very popular. And some of the ideas that I expanded upon for our streaming this morning was from some of the things that he shared recently. And between him and Warren Buffett and a few others that I picked from. Focus, what is it and how it works? First things first, what is focus really? Experts define focus as the act of concentrating your interest or activity on something. I wrote that in my newsletter last week, right? So that's a technical definition. Is the act of concentrating your interest or activity on something. What is focus? In order to concentrate on one thing, you must, by default, ignore many other things. I'm going to repeat that. What is focus? In order to concentrate on one thing, you must, by default, ignore many other things. And I want to pause here for a moment and talk to you about feeling good about the positive comments as well as the constructive criticism. Awesome. Thank you, Angie. I appreciate that. Okay. In order to concentrate on one thing, you must by default ignore many other things. All right, I'm speaking to you. I'm speaking to you on this call this morning. In order to increase your capacity to focus, you must think, put the blinders on, focus on creating, expanding, evolving, working on one thing, and ignore all of the other things. And why am I saying you? Because how many of you get caught up in the loop of your ongoing negative thoughts? You get caught up in a loop. It's not enough. I'm not good enough. I should have made a different decision. I should focus on something else. No, the idea is you absolutely 100% must focus on one thing and one thing alone. So when your negative thoughts start to jump out at you, this is where you have to cut. You have to cut it. And you have to say, no, I am not going to allow for this dark side of the moon, so to speak, to interrupt what I'm focusing on, which is to heighten my level of personal energy and effectiveness, to focus on what's working on my life instead of focusing on what's not working in your life, instead of focusing on what else you might want. Enough with the wants. We really need to come to a place. See, mind-body alignment is about coming into center of your body, feeling your heart space, breathing from your heart space, so that you might be able to really identify what is it that you want to focus on in your life right now. Where are you at in your life right now? Are you satisfied with your work? Are you satisfied with your life, where you're living, how you're living? Are you satisfied with your partner, with your engagement, with your community? And if the answer to any of these is no, we need to shift the focus. We have to shift the focus on what is working and then keep dipping into that secret sauce on a daily basis. And of course, that's the hard part, right? That's the discipline of it. We all falter back. We all fall back into bad habits or negative habits. That's okay. That's okay, because in that same moment, you have the opportunity to begin again and refocus your attention on what's working. Is this making sense? I'm very excited about this topic. Can you tell? So give me a one. Give me a one in the comments if what I'm sharing with you makes sense, if you can connect to what I'm sharing with you. Awesome, Elise. Thank you. I got a yes. Give me a one or a yes. Does this make sense? Are we connecting? All right. Here's an example of how to focus on one thing and ignore many other things. Focus can only occur when we have said yes to one option and no to all other options. In other words, elimination is a prerequisite for focus. Elimination is a prerequisite for focus. What you don't do determines what you can do. Does that make sense? What you don't do determines what you can do. We have to pick and choose. We have to pick and choose. Every time we pick and choose now, it doesn't necessarily mean or require that this choice is a permanent no, but it does require a present no. For example, in my case, because I decided, thank you for the thumbs up. In my case, because I decided to do these lives every week, guess what? My schedule has changed. I have to focus on the weekend and write out what I'm going to talk about today. I want to arrive prepared for you because I don't want to waste your time. And I'm also excited to share this information with you. I want to make it worth your while. So what do? I must focus every single weekend, which, by the way, on the weekend, I would rather not have to work. But my decision in my personal life and my work life, which is connected to my personal life because I do what I love, is to add time, to take time out of my weekend to prepare, to get inspiration. And I'm developing this in fun and new ways. At first, it's not always fun because it feels like work. And then as I become better at doing it every week, I'm finding new ways to feed my my lives on every Monday, because I'm focusing on what's working, on the optimistic, on the positivity of it all. Elise shares that two things come up for me. One, saying yes to one thing is saying no to something else. Correct. Saying no to distractions means saying yes to doing what I know is in my best interest. Exactly. And how do we develop knowing what's for our best interest? Well, as you start to focus more, and thank you, Elise, for this, as you start to focus more, you actually get to know yourself better. And you actually get to decide what's worthwhile and what's interesting to do in your life for yourself. You get into a closer, intimate relationship with yourself as you start to focus on doing one thing. Does that make sense? So, yes, of course, saying no to one thing means saying yes to something else, and vice versa. Focus doesn't require a permanent no, but it does require a present no. In this moment, no. You always have the option to do something else later, of course, but in the present moment, and we have talked about the present moment on other live streams for sure. In the present moment, focus requires that you only do one thing. Focus. Focus is the key to productivity. Focus is the key to productivity. Are you feeling productive in your life right now? Because, productivity is very close to, godliness, right? Like feeling connected to the divine. When you're productive in your life, you have more energy. You feel involved. You feel like you have a purpose, that something is working in the right direction. Productivity is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And not all productivity looks the same. But when you feel productive, that's another place where we feel inspired. It raises our level of confidence. And we talked about confidence a few live streams ago. Focus is the key to productivity because saying no to every other option unlocks your ability to accomplish the one thing that is left. Okay, question. What can we do to focus on the things that matter and ignore the things that don't? Question. What can we do to focus on the things that matter and ignore the things that don't? And you are welcome to respond in the chat, of course. Okay. Why can't I focus? Most people don't have trouble with focusing. Most people don't have trouble with focusing. They have trouble with deciding. Deciding what kind of decision maker are you? Can you make decisions? That's a big deal. And I'm not talking about right or wrong decisions. That's irrelevant at this point. The first skill is to learn to make a decision, regardless of whether it's the right or wrong one. How are you with making decisions? Take a little internal check-in right now and write down in the comments for me, how good are you at making decisions? Elise writes, I set a timer. Excellent. Good. All these tools are helpful, are they not? They're totally helpful. Okay. What I mean is, people have trouble deciding. What I mean is that, and this is from James Clear, okay? These are not my words. I'm quoting from him. What I mean is that most healthy humans have a brain that is capable of focusing if we get the distractions out of the way. Have you ever had a task that you absolutely had to get done? How many of you have had a task in your life that you absolutely needed to get done? I'll give you an example. Paying your taxes. How many of you have had to pay your taxes? As far as I know, everyone has to pay their taxes. Now, when you have to get something done, like pay your taxes, what happens? You got it done because the deadline made the decision for you. It's a no-brainer. April 15th, we have to have our taxes done by April 15th. The deadline, the parameters of it made you take a decision, which was an easy one because it's already established. Maybe you procrastinated beforehand, but once things became urgent and you were forced to make a decision, you took action. Instead of doing the difficult work of choosing one thing to focus on, we often convince ourselves that multitasking is a better option. Multitasking, you've heard it, you're going to hear it here again, is 100% ineffective. And here's why. Technically, we're capable of doing two things at the same time. It's possible, for example, to watch TV while cooking dinner or to answer an email while talking on the phone, which is really not ideal, but it's possible. What's impossible, however, is concentrating on two tasks at once. You're either listening to the TV and the overflowing pot of pasta is background noise, or you're tending to the pot of pasta and the TV is background noise. During any single instant, you are concentrating on one or the other. Multitasking forces your brain to switch your focus back and forth very quickly from one task to another. This wouldn't be a big deal if the human brain could transition seamlessly from one job to the next, but it simply cannot. You've heard this before, and if you haven't, welcome to this discovery. Your brain can only focus on one thing at a time, which is why I am fervently inviting you to focus on what is working. Do you see that if you focus on what's working, you have to let go of all of the other thoughts? Focus on this one thing. This is the very thing that produces the next very good decision. Focusing on one thing is the very process to train your brain to focus your attention on developing environments, conversations, ideas that work in your life. It's super effective. And all you need to do is practice every single day as you're going out on a walk. Oh my God, what a beautiful day. The sun has risen. The trees are full of colors. In the Northeast, it's amazing. The colors are amazing, super healing, right? Now, the more you focus on what's working in your environment, the more you are training your brain to heighten its level of neurogenesis, neural connection, to focus on all the things that might be working correctly in your life. And so what happens is you repeat more and more and more of it. Does that make sense? Let me see. Any other comments? Feel free to comment. Feel free to comment. Okay, I'm going to keep going. I have a lot of good stuff for you today. Is this interesting to you? Give me a one. Give me a one. Give me a yes. Give me a thumbs up. Give me something in the comments. Let me know if this is interesting to you. I hope it is. I hope it is. Let me know if you're connecting with this topic. Have you ever been in the middle of writing an email when someone interrupts you? When the conversation is over and you get back to the message, it takes you a few minutes to get your bearings, remember what you were writing, and get back on track. Something similar happens to you when you multitask. Multitasking forces you to pay a mental price each time you interrupt one task and jump to another. In psychology terms, this mental price is called the switching cost. Having to switch from one thought to another is called multitasking, essentially is what it is. It's called the switching cost. And here's what it is. Switching cost is the disruption in performance that we experience when we switch our focus from one area to another. One study published in the International Journal of Information Management in 2003 found that the typical person checks email once every 5 minutes. And that, on average, it takes 64 seconds to resume the previous task after checking your email. So, in other words, because you're distracted and you move your attention to something else, it takes you longer to come back to your original task. Now, this is super important because if you're someone who wants to improve the quality of their lives, if you are someone who is ambitious and you want to grow in any way, shape, or form, and it could be personal growth, but can certainly also be with your business growth. I'm always focusing on mind-body alignment growth so that my physiology, my energy connects and is in alignment with what I'm thinking, how I'm praying. So I'll tell you something, personal thing. Every night when I go to bed, I put on some type of binaural beat. I'll put on some type of I am positivity. I'll put on some type of money manifester. I'll put on some type of opening my heart meditation every single night. So as I'm falling asleep, I am reprogramming my brain. And I have been doing this for years, my friends. I have been doing this for years. So whenever you feel like it's too much, it's been too long, it's taking too long, snap out of it. It is not taking too long. It is the process of your life. So this is why I keep inviting you. I keep harping on focus on what's working, because the more you focus on what's working, the more you are creating the next moment that is working. Does this make sense? It's a training, but it doesn't have to be harsh and hard. It can just be something that you integrate in your life and that you focus with attention and intention from your heart source and be open to the possibilities of what's to come. Okay, here are some tips, a little bit more information on how to focus and increase your attention span. This is from James Clear. Again, this is a quote from him, from his newsletter. Let's talk about how to overcome our tendency to multitask and focus on one thing at a time. Of the many options in front of you, how do you know what to focus on? On the many options in front of you, How do you know what to focus on? How do you know where to direct your energy and attention? How do you determine the one thing you should commit to doing? And for those of you who may or may not know who Warren Buffett is the world's most successful investment genius. He has a two-list strategy for focused attention. And I follow Warren Buffett because he really is an amazing guy, very interesting. I think he's in his 80s now. So here's Warren Buffett's two-list strategy for focused attention. One of my favorite methods for focusing your attention on what matters and eliminating what doesn't comes from Warren Buffett. Buffett uses a simple three-step productivity strategy to help his employees determine their priorities and actions. You may find this method useful for making decisions and getting yourself to commit to doing one thing right away. Here's how it works. One day, Warren Buffett asked his personal pilot to go through the three-step exercise. Step one. Buffett started by asking the pilot, named Mike Flint, to write down his top 25 career goals. So Flint took some time and wrote them down. Note, you could also complete this exercise with goals for a shorter timeline. For example, write down the top 25 things you want to accomplish this week. Wow. Okay, here's a challenge for you all. Write down the top 25 things you want to accomplish this week. That is a lot of things, right? You're like, 25 things, Anne-Marie. How could I accomplish 25 things this week? And you certainly can. So I want to encourage you to practice, do this exercise. Write down 25 things that you want to accomplish this week. Today is Monday. See, this is how we get into that productivity wheel. So for example, for me, this week, I am going to go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 workout classes this week. I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to do 11 group fitness classes with my coach, whom I love. That's my commitment, right? So there's 11 right there, right? I'm going to go to the gym 11 times. I'm going to make some delicious soup in my crock pot. I'm going to make a few recipes. I'm going to put them away and I'm going to put them in my freezer because there's nothing more satisfying to me than coming home and being able to eat something that I made that is nourishing. I know how it's made because I made it, right? So that's another priority. So I want you to practice this exercise, 25 things that you want to accomplish this week. Okay, onwards with Warren Buffett's story. So step one, he said to his pilot, write down 25 things you want to accomplish. In his case, it was 25 career goals, which you could also do. Step number two, then Buffett asked Flint, his pilot, to review his list and circle his top 5 goals. Circle your top 5 goals. Out of the 25, circle the top 5. Again, Flint took some time, made his way through the list, and eventually decided on his 5 most important goals. Step 3. At this point, Flint had 2 lists. The 5 items he had circled were list A, and the 20 items he had not circled were list B. Flint confirmed that he would start working on his top 5 goals right away. And that's when Buffett asked him about the second list. And what about the ones you didn't circle? He asked. Flint replied, well, the top 5 are my primary focus, but the other 20 come in a close second. They are all still important, so I'll work on those intermittently as I see fit. They are not as urgent, but I still plan to give them a dedicated effort. To which Warren Buffett replied, no, you've got it wrong. Everything you don't circle just became your avoid at all cost list. No matter what, these things get no attention from you until you've succeeded with your top 5. So What is the moral of the story, my friends? Buffett's method works, right? Because it forces you to make hard decisions and eliminate things that might be good uses of time, but aren't great uses of time. If you have not read the book From Good to Great, from Jim Collins, if I'm not mistaken. There is a book out there called From Good to Great by Jim Collins. And it focuses more around business, but it is certainly appropriate for personal development. From Good to Great. I think it's Jim Collins. I read the book a long time ago, and I probably need to read it again, right? This is one of the books where you always go back and check into. Elise says prioritize and then focus. Yes. And I want to talk about that, Elise. Thank you, my dear, for saying that. So, how many of you on this call have to prioritize items on your to-do list? You have to prioritize items on your to-do list. So let's say you have a list of things you need to get done. And you have number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7. Let's say you have 7 things on your priority to-do list. Well, prioritization or priorities in the plural is an oxymoron. It doesn't work. We don't have priorities. That goes against the very definition of what a priority is. You have one priority. You focus on one priority, right? So then you have 7 priorities. That doesn't work. You have just one, just that first one. And that one, nothing else happens in the world until you get number 1 done. Okay, you're going to say to me, but Anne-Marie, my top priority is to call my cell phone company, Verizon or AT&T or Nexus, whatever. I have to call them and I'm on hold and I have to call them back tomorrow. Well, that no longer becomes your priority for the day, does it? Then you have to put it elsewhere. You put it on another list that you ignore for the rest of the day because you've done what you had to do. That no longer becomes your priority. You took care of that. Do you see how you have to start to shift the way you think at how priorities work? That no longer becomes a priority. And the hard part is that you have to let it go. You have to let it go because you've done what you needed to do in that moment. But after that, it's gone. You have to let it go. I love that thought. One by one, relief of pressure. Yes, relief of pressure. Thank you very much. Exactly. We don't need to add more pressure to our lives. When you focus your attention, you minimize pressure. It's all about taking a step back. Hey, all of you on this call, do not wait to retire to start slowing down. Don't do that. I highly unrecommend it. Don't wait till you retire. First of all, who knows when that's going to happen? Second of all, your life is now. And as we all know, and as we have been very strong, what we have strongly witnessed over the past few years is that any of us can go at any moment. So please don't wait to retire to slow down. Ease and flow in every day and in every day. Yes, ease and flow in every day. And that's a practice. So when your monkey mind starts to focus on what's not working or someone that bothers you or that you were offended somehow. Hey, by the way, getting offended is a total waste of time. Just saying. If you're getting offended, you're taking things personally. And you know what? What I found out in my life is that's the number one thing that's going to kill your spirit. Don't waste time being offended. Oh, I'm so offended. So much drama bound to being offended. It's not about being offended. Somebody said something stupid. Don't buy into it. Don't take it personally. Do you see what I'm saying? That's mind-body alignment, fitness. You see? You don't want to take things personally. So true. Well, I have multiple priorities. I am holding all of them in my mental space and leaves little room for the number 1. Correct, Elise. Thank you very much for that piece of wisdom. If you're thinking about more than one thing, you don't have the mind share. You don't have the mindscape to really get that one priority thing done. back to feeling offended because somebody said something that offended you. And do you know how much time you're going to spend thinking bad thoughts about that person because, oh my God, how dare they say what they said, or whatever story you have going on. You are wasting your precious life, right? Don't get offended. Throw that out the window. Forget it. People make mistakes. The past is over. Focus on the present moment and on doing the best that you can to focus on what you want to develop in your life. You know that saying, most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. So, you know what? Go for the long view. What else do we have to do in our lives? If you're stressed, if you're feeling stressed, if you're not getting to where you want to go in your life, you must review your values. You have to look at what are your values and why are you wasting so much time thinking about this other person who's not doing a thing for you, but that is sucking up your very life force and energy. Cut it out. Just stop doing that. And you know why I'm so good at knowing why that doesn't work? Because I did it. Oh my God. Right? I spent so much time focusing on a part of my life that wasn't working for so long. And now I look back at it and I'm like, dear Lord, we do get lost. We do get lost. So come back to center. Focus your attention, your priority on your heart space, on forgiving yourself, on moving back onto the track, and just move in that direction. Does this make sense? It's all about the view from within. Yes, ma'am, 100%. It's all about the view from within. And I want to add, if your view from within, if your within is cloudy, what's your view going to be like, right? If you're inside, if inwardly you are cloudy, or you're jealous or anxious or unhappy, that's going to be your view, isn't it? So we have to make sure that we floss our inside, that we keep ourselves clear, open, that we're connected. We're connected to our divine source, to prayer, meditation, nature, whatever works for you. But if you have inside feelings of jealousy, resentment, anger, and we all have them, I'm not saying that we don't have them. I'm saying, how much time do you focus your attention on them? Because that, my friends, will suck the very life force out of you. A life of confusion and regret. Yeah, forget that, right? A life of confusion and regret. We don't want that because we're alive right now. And some of us have a disposition to focus on what doesn't work, right? More than others. Some of us tend to have a bigger victim alive within us. And there's no blame, shame. We all have a victim. Some of us have a bigger victim than other people. Okay, here's my suggestion. If you're someone who feels victimized in life, that government isn't taking care of you, that your friends aren't taking care of you, that your boss is not taking care of you, that your sister is mean to you, if you tend to be in a position of victimization, no blame, shame, but here's the trick. Here's what you need to do. Befriend your victim. Become closer, more aligned, more in touch with your victim self. Don't make your victim wrong. Just sit and have a cup of tea with your victim. Have a cup of tea with your angry part. Have a cup of tea with your negative self-talk. It doesn't work to push it away. You can't push resentment and anger away. It festers. It doesn't work. Believe me, I've tried. You have to truly sit with yourself and befriend those parts of you, especially the parts of you that you like the least. Yes, nurture your victim like a loving mother. Thank you. 100%. That's right. Nurture your victim like a loving mother. Thank you. That's beautiful. I really appreciate that insight. Right? It's enough. We can beat ourselves up until the end of times. It doesn't change us. What does change us is focusing our attention on optimism, on what's working, and are building ourselves up into the next decision-making moment. I hope this is making sense. Give me a thumbs up, a one or a yes in the comments if you're following. Okay. Before we end, a couple of things. Let me share with you to improve your focus, concentration, and focus mind hacks. Okay. I'm going to leave you with a couple of tips today, okay? How to improve concentration. Number one, choose an anchor task. Write it down. Choose an anchor task. One of the major improvements that you can make is to assign one and only one priority to each workday. That's tough. Only one priority, right? There are not many priorities, there is one. Although you might plan to complete other tasks during the day, the priority task is the one non-negotiable thing that must get done. This is what is called an anchor task. That's your anchor task for today. Just choose to do one thing fully, completely for this one day. This is a practice into getting better at focusing your attention. Okay, so one is choose an anchor task. Tip number two, manage your energy, not your time. This is important. Manage your energy, not your time. If a task requires your full attention, then schedule it for a time of day when you have the energy needed to focus. So, for example, for me, my most active, important, productive time of the day is always in the morning. This is when I am at my most productive. So I always try to do my most important thing first thing in the morning. And what that is for me is I get up and I write. That's the number one thing that I do every single day. I write. I get up, I write, I do a little bit of research, and this is my creativity time. So my meditation is first thing, first I light my candles, I light my incense, I do my meditation, I tap in with my meditation teacher, I write, and this starts anywhere between 5 and 5:30 a.m. So I get up, of course, I get my cup of tea, right? I set myself up. I have an entire environment where I'm set up and comforted and supported into doing the most important things. So I don't focus so much on my time, although, of course, I'm aware of time. More importantly, I focus on my energy. This is why, usually for me, I don't know what it's like for you, but usually for me, around 4:30, 4:30, if I start my day between 5 and 5:30, at 4:30, I'm done. So what do? I jump into my swanky little vehicle and I go to the gym and I work out, because then it's physical energy, right? Then I'm moving, I'm doing my thing. And then I know my reward at the end of this is the steam room or the sauna or the jacuzzi. Do you see how I set myself up with these little rewards throughout the day? So the morning time for me is where I'm my most energetic. Establish for yourself, when are you at your most energetic? And that is when you want to focus on your priority of the day, of doing what's most important. Number three, last one. Number three. Well, maybe I give you a couple more. Okay, never check email before noon. That's so hard for me. Never check email before noon. Woo! That's a tough one. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business person. That's a tough one for me. And I do work on that one. I don't always succeed. That's for sure. Especially like this morning. If I'm going to be talking at 11 a.m., I check my emails beforehand to make sure no one has contacted me. One of my clients, you perhaps, is reaching out to me, asking a question. If you do, I always like to bring it up in the live stream. So that's a tough one for me. But what a great challenge. Focus is about eliminating distractions. And certainly email can be one of those distractions. Okay, so this is a fun one. Never check email before noon. I'm going to work on that one with you. Okay, Leave your phone in another room when you're prioritizing. So in the morning, for sure, between 5 and 8 a.m. for me, my phone is not on. Now, it's pretty safe that between 5 and 8 a.m., I'm not going to get that many calls, but you would be surprised, of course, because I work with clients overseas. So, what's noon for me is 6 p.m. for them or 6 a.m., right? Depending on where they are in the world. So, in the morning, I leave my phone in another room. That is so incredibly important because it helps me to become more disciplined about not reaching out for my phone all the time. Okay, that's it for today, my friends. That's it for today. Elise says, I try not to check after 10 p.m. Not very successful at it. Ooh, not check your phone or email after 10 p.m. Yeah, Elise, definitely. We definitely have to try to work on that. You know why? Because when you go to bed, sometimes, how many of you do this? You go to bed and you have your phone, and it's the perfect time to check Instagram, isn't it? And you're in bed and you're just like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been guilty of that as well. Less and less and less because I'm training myself really before I go to bed. I'll usually read for about a half hour and then I put in my guided. And you know why? You know, the bottom line of it all is that I feel like $1,000,000 the next day. I feel enlivened. I'm happy. I feel I have no stress. I'm not worried. You know, I mean, there's nothing feeling like that. So, my friends, you have been an incredibly captive and kind, loving, interactive audience. Thank you. Thank you for being here. If you are not on my newsletter, please sign up. artofalignmentacademy.com. Go to my blog, sign up for my newsletter. Comes out every Thursday morning. Sometimes it comes out on Friday morning because I'm late, but I try for Thursday morning at 7 a.m. I am perfecting my wheel. So I am showing you how to be imperfect. How about that? Be perfect in your imperfection. So sign up for my newsletter. As we move into the new year, I'm going to have some new offers, new things coming up. Invite your friends, invite people who you think might benefit from these talks, from these interactive talks. And again, get them to sign up now, earlier on, because as I move along and more people join, you will get priority because you are here with me every week and I know who you are. So it's a little bit of a teaser. Whew, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. All right. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for being with me this week. I will see you next Monday. Look out for my newsletter on Thursday morning at 7 a.m., where I talk about the topic that we're going to discuss the following Monday. If you have any questions, please, you can email me. Go to artofalignacademy.com to the blog and then just write your question there if you want to contact me. Please, also, if you go on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Art of Alignment Academy. You can leave me a little comment down there. Every time you subscribe to my channel and you leave a comment, it helps the algorithm to find me more easily and gets my message out to the world more easily. So if you feel so inspired, I truly appreciate your support. I love you all. Thank you. Have a fabulous Monday and a fabulous week. Bye. I will see you all next week. Take care.